Hi, welcome to That Reminds Me Of, a podcast about film and the films that remind us of that film. You're here with Baron and the Doc.
And the Maestro.
Do we need another drink?
Yes, we do.
Yeah.
Hi, Baron.
Doc, how are you?
Very good. Welcome to the library.
Yeah, this is beautiful. This is our first time here.
Well, not
No,
really.
This is your first. This is my first time here.
Our first ever episode was in the library, but that was an audio-only episode.
Episode 1
Episode 1.
of That Reminds Me Of, all the way back in 2020. Was it?
Yeah,
I think so.
something like
yeah,
that.
because it was just before COVID hit.
It was, but we
That's
weren't on the
crazy.
YouTubes, so you couldn't see the library, but we were recording from the library.
You bet. Well, we have just been to Palace Cinemas, Como. Como Palace Cinemas?
Palace Cinema Como.
Is that how you say it?
Well, Palace Cinemas. Don't we love Palace Cinemas, but
Oh,
we
we
haven't
do.
been to the Como
No.
before.
No. We were there to see the Italian Film Festival opening media screening something, because the festival's going to start soon, but it hasn't
right.
yet.
But I am so excited about the St. Ali Italian Film Festival.
Yeah, we are.
There's the program. We are excited, and we've seen one film, and what was it?
The Eight Mountains.
It was a great film, but like the highlight for me was probably the Chalk Tops.
Oh, yeah. So I think we've had a number of Palace Cinema Chalk Tops,
We have.
and they are all good
Yeah.
from different places. But I got to say, this one was next level. We both got boysenberry.
Yeah, we did.
Let's just start with the shape of it. It was just generous, overflowing. It was bulbous, like there were
It was
just
bulbous.
there were sections coming off of it, you know, and then
Yeah.
it was just covered in the thickest layer of chocolate. It was great.
It was great, and the chocolate kind of went down the cone on the edges as well. What did it remind you of?
What did it remind me of? You know, when you're a kid and you get given like a candy that's just
Yeah.
you just weren't expecting how good it's going to be, or you get a box of Nerds and you open them and you pour them out and one comes out and it's huge, just like a giant mutated nerd,
A bulbous nerd.
a bulbous nerd.
Yeah.
That's what it was like.
Well, look, it also reminded me that we didn't have the maestro there with us.
Oh,
And this
yeah.
is the Italian Film Festival. This is the maestro's home turf. But he's off overseas, so we had to do it without him. So let's stumble through ourselves. And the movie we saw is called The Eight Mountains.
The Eight Mountains.
And it is, if I refer to
Yes, please,
to my program.
to the program.
And apologies for pronunciation, I think. On
Oh,
this,
we're going to
this-
butcher the hell out of it. If the maestro were here, we'd be in safe
Oh
hands.
my! No, we wouldn't be, because the directors are Felix van Groningen and Charlotte Vandermisch.
The least Italian names you can have.
Yeah, they're from Belgium. So, but it is an Italian film,
Yes.
an Italian cast, I believe, who are all great. I'm not going to try the names.
One of the writers is Paolo Cognetti.
Ah, there you go.
So
That's
there is one Italian in there. Just thought I'd throw that little factoid in for you.
No, it's a good factoid.
Yeah.
Did you enjoy the film, Baron?
Yes, it is a very long film.
It was.
Heads up for people. It can be a little bit slow at times, but I actually thought it was a beautiful film.
Beautiful is the right word. I
Yeah.
think I'd stand by that adjective.
It's beautifully filmed. It is 4:3. You know how I feel about that.
Yes.
But it is some of the most cinematic 4:3 I've seen, maybe ever.
And I wasn't sort of thinking about it being 4:3. You nudged me at the start. It's 4:3,
I
and
almost walked out.
yeah, I was scared that you were going to walk out. But it never proclaimed itself. Hey, how does my 4:3-ness move you as an audience? It didn't say that. It just happened to be 4:3.
I agree. It wasn't a pretentious 4:3. It actually felt like the Italian filmmaker, who's actually from Denmark, was it?
Belgium.
Belgium, picked up a camera that just happened to be 4:3 and just filmed this film. Like it felt natural to the setting and to what the film was.
Yeah. Not sure whether to say it was beautifully shot, which I think it was,
was.
or it was just beautiful scenery, which it was.
Yes, well that does help.
Yeah.
That does help. Not a lot of actual lighting in this film. It's all natural scenery. It seems like a lot of the lighting is practical lights. It's that alone makes it a pleasure to watch.
Yeah. where do we start here? Should we start with reminds me ofs and then just explore the film through those?
Yes. Yes, let's do that.
And bear in mind, we've just exited the film. We've just polished off our Maccas. This is all fresh, so it's unrehearsed.
Yeah.
But do you want to kick off?
Also, bear in mind, I had 2 Negronis while I was there because they were offering Negronis at the screening. So,
I had 1 Negroni,
okay.
1 red wine, a vodka Red Bull before I left, and now I'm on my vodka and raspberry cordial. So as
Vodka and raspberry cordial.
to be
Damn.
able to sleep because
All
it's quite late.
Great. Great. Jeez, it all sounded okay until that.
Cheers.
All right. Do you want to start with a reminds me of to kick
Okay,
us off?
I'll go.
Yeah.
I'm going to mention Charles Dickens, and I don't know how to.
Wait. We need to give a synopsis of this film.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
So can you read from the program? Because I just, we were going along at a clip here and I just realized nobody knows what we're talking about. So,
Yeah, I think we might edit that out actually.
yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So could you ask me to do a synopsis again?
Doc, can you give us the synopsis of The Eight Mountains, please?
Absolutely, Baron, I can. I'll refer to the program, and it says, Pietro is a boy from the city. Bruno is the last child of a forgotten mountain village. The two meet one summer in a small village in northwestern Italy, and in their adventures together, they roam far and wide.
Okay.
That's sound.
Yeah. A forgotten something village? What was it? A forgotten mountain village.
Yeah, Bruno is the last child of a forgotten mountain village.
This really is a film about friendship.
It is.
And it's that brand of film that we're seeing a little bit now where it's, 2 men who have a very close, intimate relationship that is actually non-physical. They're just mates. And that's what it's about.
I feel that we've done a few of those.
Oh my God, yeah.
Yeah, and the podcast is exactly that as well. 2 mates.
That's right. This has come up. So I really think this is in the zeitgeist at the moment.
Yeah.
At least in the festival indie circles, we are seeing a lot of these stories about men being mates.
I think
They're not in relationships. They're just mates. But
men are redefining themselves.
They are. I think
Or
that's
at
what
least
it is.
the arty men are, and
Yes.
the tradies are probably a couple of years away.
they're still watching Marvel films. But
Correct.
that's all I can take from it because
Yeah.
there's a lot of these films.
Well, I'm going to kick off with what it reminded me of.
Please.
And that's, I can't pronounce the word, but there's a genre of novel that's called, I think it's pronounced the Bildungsroman.
Okay.
Yeah, whatever. But it means when you've got a story that starts from childhood and goes all the way to adulthood, so follows a character's arc. And the best example of that is Great Expectations
What a story.
by Charles Dickens.
What does the buildings Roman mean?
I don't know what it means.
Okay.
But it stands for
Okay.
what I said, like the arc of a whole life. And I think that's what we get in this film. We get
Totally, yeah.
the main characters who meet as kids, and then we see their life just almost in full, or at least until they're our age.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. And you see them go. One thing that's interesting is you see a real reversal of strength and weakness.
Yes.
Which is just good storytelling.
Yeah.
Whoever's the strongest character at the start of the film, has to become the weakest by the end of the film. That's always the way it goes. And whoever was the weakest suddenly finds himself being the one that's the strongest in that situation. And you totally get that here. It's sort of done with this sense of losing oneself and finding oneself. That seems to be a theme to me.
Yeah. They lose themselves and find themselves at different moments, and one is the more powerful, one's the shoulder to cry on, and that changes through. And you've kind of stolen my next reminds me of, which is on the shelf behind you, but we'll get to that in a sec.
Okay, great. This film, like you've just said, is about boys who grow to be men. And there's also a real sense of being trapped in a place. Like that place kind of defines who you are. And so Good Will Hunting came to my mind. In fact, as I was watching the film, I kept thinking, how many films do I know where the boys become men? And there's loads of them, but I just couldn't find that perfect example for this. I know there's got to be a good one out there. I'll think of it like tomorrow, I'm sure.
As will I.
Yeah. But Good Will Hunting, partly because of the Boys to Men thing, not the band, but also because, that has a real sense of like working class men trying to break out of like the expectations of what that is.
Yeah.
And that's in this film as well.
The great expectations, may you say.
Yes, exactly. The Roman buildings.
Yes. Roman buildings.
They do build a house in this as well.
They do.
Together.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, my next one is on the shelf above you.
Yeah, do I have to find it?
No,
Actually.
No, I've taken it down.
You already
I've
pulled
taken it down already.
Okay, great.
Okay, it's Martin Amos's Success. And that is the relationship of two, I think they're stepbrothers. One starts off as the poor guy who's got nothing and is a loser, and the other one is completely, successful, hence the name Success.
Yeah.
And that changes throughout the novel so that, the power dynamic between them just completely shifts and
Perfect.
shifts up and down. So I was reminded very much of that. It's completely different style. This is a comedy, and it's a novel. But just watching how life goes, how we all see that one day someone's got all the power, and the next day you're sort of the one comforting them. That's the beauty of when you're looking at this Bildungsroman or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
You're looking at a whole life, and you do get to see how lives change through the journey.
I don't know whose personal story this is out of the two directors and writers, I think, and then there's the third one as well, who's the Italian fellow.
Pietro, the Italian.
Yeah,
one.
exactly.
Yeah.
But like it definitely feels like this is someone's personal story. It feels like a meditation on their musings about their life and obviously their connection to a place like the mountain town. And I find it interesting that you can still, in this world of like all of the big tentpole Hollywood films, that there is still room for these sorts of really ultra personal films, but you have to go to the festivals to see them.
Yeah, you do, and I think we need to focus more on the festivals because like that's where the real storytelling happens, rather than the paint by numbers approach to some of the big Hollywood blockbusters. Yeah,
absolutely. Like this film wouldn't exist on a broad theatrical release. Like you just wouldn't. You couldn't.
No, it was too long.
Yeah, it is too long.
Yeah.
For modern attention spans.
You find yourself butting up against that length, don't you? And you think this is going on too long, and because we've been conditioned to think that a good horror movie is 80 minutes.
Yeah.
And at 90 minutes you start to look at your watch. But this is a different type of film, and we need to get used to watching and enjoying, different styles.
I wonder if that's what the 4:3 is. I wonder if that's the filmmaker saying right up front, it's 4:3. Get ready. It's going to be long and a bit slow and a little navel gazy. But it's 4:3. You know what you're getting into. Like, walk away now if you don't like it.
I'm not sure it needed to be 4:3. If I'm
True.
like, I'm normally standing up for 4:3, and you're throwing tomatoes at it.
True.
In this one, I really love the film.
Yeah.
But I don't know that 4:3 meant anything. Like, would it not, with those vistas of mountains and everything, wouldn't that have looked better in 16:9?
Yes.
Or whatever you call it, CinemaScope or whatever they call it these days.
Yeah, at least 16:9.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I agree. But I think I guess my point is maybe it's signposting the kind of film it is. Maybe.
Yeah, good point.
I have another one for you.
Yes.
Jeremiah Johnson.
Yes.
Have we ever talked about Jeremiah Johnson in the podcast?
I reckon you might have, and I reckon I might have just looked at you blankly and let you continue.
So it's one of my favorite films from when I was younger, because it's about Robert Redford going into the mountains to be a mountain man.
I think we talked about it off camera.
We talked about it off camera.
Yeah.
The guy who was the one child in the village, who was the sort of less educated village guy.
Yeah.
And he grows to become a mountain man in many ways, and he talks about it, how the mountain's who he is, and
Yeah, yeah.
and it's a part of him, and that's where he wants to die and all that sort of stuff. And the scenery, the beautiful mountains, the snow, and just that cabin that they build, which you know the guy winters in, and like all of that reminded me of Jeremiah Johnson.
That's a good one, and I think I've been meaning to watch that since you mentioned it. But it sounds like a perfect little, metaphor for this film.
Yeah, even just the soundtrack of The Wild and the wind and that particular sound you get in the mountains where it's just snow and mountains everywhere and big open skies. It's got its own sort of soundscape.
I was thinking about the soundscape halfway through, and what I was thinking of was the fact that I hadn't thought about the soundscape up to,
Right.
like normally I would be considering, oh, this is a good, sound design, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
But I hadn't considered it, and then halfway through I thought, oh, what are they doing to us? It was very natural.
In fact, I can't recall any music in the film. There might have been, but I can't recall it.
No, it just felt like you were up in those mountains
Yep.
with them, with just the wind and the clouds and the
Yep.
and the male bonding.
I think this is a film that, is one of the standouts of the Italian Film Festival. It looked like there were going to be a lot of great films in it. They did a little kind of program reveal at the start. So, like, while we're saying this is a bit long, I think if you're someone that's sort of into a film that has a really personal kind of, you're getting a sense that you're getting a really personal tale from the filmmaker, then this is a good one.
Did you get any Brokeback Mountain vibes?
Oh, yes. In fact, for about the first 20 minutes of the film, I was pretty certain that's where we were heading.
Yeah. For more than the first 20 minutes, because I reckon in around the third act, when we were looking at the main protagonist and his kind of late teenage to early 20s years, he looked like he was just the sort of guy that was in love with his mate.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's true. Particularly the scenes where they were building their house together, and they were sort of swimming in the lake together, and in their jocks and stuff. I was like, yeah, this is very likely going this way, but it never did.
No, there was a lot of Brokeback Mountain longing in there in the middle.
Yeah. However, it never eventuates, and in fact, they're just two hetero dudes who just think they're great guys.
Which made it, I think, that complexity in 2023.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool. Like it just added some layers to the relationship, and I don't know, just made it more interesting.
Yeah.
Do you have any others?
No, I thought 2 was good. What about you?
I'll give one more while I'm at it.
Great.
I think that'll mean 4. So
That's incredible.
4 ordinary ones versus 2 good ones, but I think it's up here somewhere.
While we're
Some
in the
dodgy-
library.
My last one, because I'm in the library and I've done a lot of novels,
Yeah.
is Herman Melville's Moby Dick. I think at one stage this is referenced in the novel. I think you see the pages and it says Moby Dick.
Yeah.
So Moby Dick is pretty famous for being a bit homoerotic
Really?
in the early stages. So not just the title, but but the 2 of the mainish characters kind of have just a friendship really, but they shack up together. They're sort of cuddling each other a bit, this sort of stuff.
Sure.
So it blurs the line. So I think that was probably intentional and probably speaking to the,
A bit like a poster on the wall. It's that same vibe.
Yeah. So certainly it's just an adjunct to the Brokeback Mountain vibe. I think they're meant to make you think about the different versions of a male relationship and not really come to any conclusions, just to see that there's a spectrum there and to embrace that.
That's great. I can add on to that because you in Moby Dick you have that relentless drive towards an objective.
Yeah.
Whether it be to catch a whale or to, claim this mountain life that's actually really difficult to live.
Wasn't that cool? analogy, and this is where the Eight Mountains comes in. One of the characters has strived for and achieved the mountaintop.
Yep.
But just that one thing, he's just got to the mountaintop, and that's all he's done.
Yeah.
Whereas the other one has, canvassed the 8 mountains, like the world, and he's been here and there and had experience. And the underlying question is, which is the better? Which is the more fulfilling?
Yeah.
And I think that's something we can all ponder.
Absolutely.
Yeah, are you winding me up? Good.
I think we should wind this up. I think we might go to see some more films at the Italian Film Festival. I don't want to promise it. It might happen.
Oh no, we'll definitely
We will?
see
Okay,
more
good,
films.
good.
We definitely encourage everyone out there to go to the Palace Cinemas Italian Film Festival. We're hoping to get them to sponsor us one day. That's what we're really trying to do. But get out there, get a choc top, get a glass of wine.
Oh, yeah. If you go to the Como, get a choc top.
You may even see us there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Cheers,
Until
Doug.
then.